Hello, good afternoon, investors and corporate. Welcome to Digital Roadshow First Quarter 2024 Performance Review. This section will run about 45 minutes, including Q&A. Company will start the section by 30-minute presentation, followed by 15-minute Q&A. And during Q&A, investor may leave your question in meeting room chat box or use raise your hand function. We will open your microphone so you can ask the question to the company directly. So may I now invite THORESEN Thai Agency Public Company Limited to start the presentation.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon all investor. Today you are here with THORESEN Thai Agency, a digital roadshow of first quarter 2022. The management who are here with us to give you an information are คุณคทารัตน์ สุขแสวง our group CFO คุณอัจฉริยา อังสุธรรม Director of Treasury and Investor Relations.
Good afternoon.
คุณวุฒิชัย คุปรุจิวงศ์ Associate Director of Corporate Accounting and Business Performance Analysis.
สวัสดีครับ
And you are here with me, วิภาดา ชัยาพร Investor Relation Manager. For today's agenda, we will start with the company overview, followed by financial highlight and market outlook, and we will finish the section with the Q&A. THORESEN Thai Agency Public Company Limited, established over 100 years ago. We are listed in SET and we are in SET ESG rating AA for 2023, and our company main shareholder is Mahakesari family, with the main investor are local. For the TTA portfolio, business portfolio, we have shipping, which we hold 100% in THORESEN Shipping. In the first quarter, the total revenue of shipping accounted for 26% of the total revenue of 6,523 million baht. And the second business is offshore service, which in the first quarter, our revenue accounted for 48%. Third is agrochemical, which contribute 11% revenue, followed by food and beverage, which we have Pizza Hut and Taco Bell contribute 9%. And lastly, other investment contribute about 6%. For our EBITDA structure, the main contribution are from shipping and offshore service. Next is financial performance. Highlight for the year, for the first quarter, THORESEN Shipping is awarded the third rank for the World TCE Performance survey by Linkage and Rodman. That survey all the shipping listed globally. That we are the only company that being in the top 5 for the 6 consecutive years in the first year of the survey. For the TTA group, in this quarter, TTA reported net profit of 1,116 million baht, mainly driven by shipping segment. For TTA, TCE rate of the shipping segment, we continue high TCE of 15,932 US dollar per day, outperform the Supramax net TCE by 29%. Our OPEX still remain low at 4,113 US dollar per day, which is below the industry OPEX by 20%. For offshore service, the offshore service continue to deliver the positive net profit to TTA with the highest order book of 733 million US dollar. And last but not least, the agrochemical segment continue to contribute the net profit to TTA with the growth of fertilizer sale volume 130% year-over-year. Next, we will present about the consolidated performance of the TTA, which Kun Ashriya will present in this section ค่ะ
Thank you for Khun Vipada, and may I present a consolidated statement of income for TTA. For this quarter performance, TTA reported the revenue of 6.5 billion, which increased 3% Y-on-Y. Mainly is from offshore services and agrochemical segment, but it may decrease a little bit 2% Q-on-Q due to the low season of fertilizer market. Due to the higher revenue, we also report a higher gross profit at 1.7 billion, increased 61% Y-on-Y from stronger performance of the shipping. As Kun Vipada already presented the TCA rate, we have performed better. And on the offshore service as well. And 2% Q-on-Q may decline a little, increase a little bit despite the low season of both offshore service and agrochemical. Due to the higher gross profit, we report an increased EBITDA around 112% Y-on-Y and 7% Q-on-Q to baht 1.25 billion. There will realized and unrealized gain from the FX or foreign exchange due to the baht depreciation against the US dollar, because we have the loan that TTA lent to our related parties in US dollar, and we also have a short-term investment that held in US dollar as well. As a result, TTA report a strong net profit of 1.1 billion baht, significantly increased by 419 Y-on-Y percentage and 438 times on Q-on-Q basis. For the next slide, I like to point out on the financial position. As you may see here that as the end of the quarter one, TTA has a total asset of baht 48.9 billion, increase around 6 billion, mainly from four transaction. The first one, of course, the cash increase after the bond issuance, around 3.5 billion that we issue in February. The second transaction is the increase from the trade and trade receivable. This transaction stem from the offshore service segment because we have more project that we deliver to the client this quarter. And from the third one is a non-current financial asset from our investment in Valula Energy, which is the Canadian incorporated listed stock in Toronto. Because the higher value of the stock, we also record the higher value investment. And the last increase in asset stem from the increase in PPE, plant, property, and equipment. After the increasing value of the vessel, because the vessel is valued in US dollar, and once the US dollar appreciates against baht, we also record a higher value of this PPE. And also we have dry dock expense from the offshore service in this quarter as well. From the liability side, as I mentioned that this quarter we just issued a bond, so the main IBD increase is mainly from bonds, 3.5 billion. But even though that the bond, after the bond issue of 3.5 billion, we still have a very strong or low net gearing or net leverage ratio. As you can see here, the net DE ratio increased slightly to 0.58 times. We still have a very low net DE compared to the set in average that we have researched. The total debt to equity ratio of the whole listed company is around 1.43. So compared to 0.58 is still much below the average of the industry. On the cash flow side, we have a very high liquidity shown from our cash. We have the cash under management of about baht 11 billion. And The total cash, like I mentioned, is mainly from a strong cash flow from operating investment, cash flow from operating activity, which is a positive of 695 million baht in this quarter. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll give you detail of our main operating business performance. Let's start from the shipping business first. The net market Supramax freight rate average in the market is around $12,312 per day in this quarter, which increased 27% Y-on-Y, but decreased 8% Q-on-Q. Our TTA net TCE rose around 16% and 14% Q-on-Q to $15,932. So compared to the market 12,312, we performed better, right, around 29%. And just to give the detail of 1,500 and 932, how we derive that one, we comprise of the rate of our own fleet of the net TCE rate of $15,882 per day, and plus the net gain from the charter-in vessel in this quarter of $49 per day. As a result, net TCE rate continue outperform the net Supramax TCE rate of the industry around 29%, which is a very good rate for us. The own fleet continue to have a high utilization rate at 100%. Next slide. Okay, let's look at the OPEX side as well. In this quarter, vessel operating expense or the OPEX still maintain low at $4,113 per day. OPEX remains 20% below the industry OPEX, which ranks around $5,172 per day. TTA has a very low break-even at $8,044 per day, compared to our rate that we realized the revenue at $15,932 per day. The difference between this rate and this rate contribute a margin, or we can calculate the net profit margin at around 50%. At this quarter end, shipping segment owned 24 vessels, comprising 22 Supramax vessels and 2 Ultramax vessels, with the average size of 55,913 deadweight ton, and on the average age of 16 years. Next slide, please. For the financial performance in this quarter, from the revenue side first, the freight revenue we report at 1.69 billion, decreased 19% Y-on-Y due to the reduced voyage revenue from the decreasing equivalent number of charter-in vessels from 7.8 last year to 1.3 in this quarter, but it still increased 6% Q-on-Q due to the rising TTA's TCE rate. TCE net TCE rose 16% Y-on-Y and 14% Q-on-Q to $15,932 per day, as I mentioned in the last slide, and we continue to outperform the net Supramax TCE rate at this quarter by 29%. The gross profit of the shipping increased 35% Y-on-Y and 25% Q-on-Q to about 854 million, resulting from the higher TCE mentioned above. In line with the rising gross profit, we also report increased EBITDA at 37% Y-on-Y and 35% Q-on-Q to about 816 million. Overall, the shipping segment delivered to net profit to TTA of baht 656 million, significantly improved 56% Y-on-Y and 67% Q-on-Q. Okay, let's move to the next highlight of business or offshore service segment. We believe that this company have turned around and continue to deliver the profit or higher, better financial performance for the company. To analyze the company performance, there are three main categories of the operating service. First is the subsea IRM. Second is cable lay, and the last is decommissioning and transportation and installation, or TNI, for calling for short. Starting from the contribution of the revenue first, the subsea IRM continue to contribute the highest at 52%. And as you see on the green here, the green part represent the commissioning and TNI, represent the second highest at 34%. And the last segment come from the cable lay, which contribute 14%. On the detail of the subsea IRM, the subsea IRM revenue significantly rose 98% Y-on-Y to 831 million in this quarter, to baht 1.64 billion in this quarter, mainly from the increased activity of the non-owned vessel in the Middle East region, and increased 11% Q-on-Q from baht 1.48 billion last quarter, from increased on-vessel utilization rate at 83% compared to last quarter, which was at 67%. For the cable lay details, the revenue slightly increased Y-on-Y to baht 416 million in the last year, to baht 432 million in this quarter, and significantly increased 64% Q-on-Q from baht 263 million in last quarter to from the Middle East projects. For the decommissioning and TNI business, the revenue significantly increased 337% from baht 233 million in last year to baht 1,065 million in this quarter, mainly due to the decommissioning service expansion in Thailand, that we secure one project, and we deliver a very strong backlog from this segment. It may decrease a little bit, 16% Q-on-Q to baht 1.267 billion in the last quarter, due to the preparation to operate offshore activity in the next quarter. Next slide, hi. Let's go through the financial performance of the offshore service segment. The offshore revenue will record at 3.39 billion, which increased 112% Y-on-Y, largely from the subsea IRM and the decommissioning and TNI project that I mentioned earlier. Gross profit also increased 180% Y-on-Y to baht 479 million, mainly from increased non-owned vessel subsea IRM margin and the better day rate of the subsea IRM, and the improved margin of the cable lay business, but it decreased 11% Q-on-Q. Due to the higher profit, EBITDA also report significantly increased at 463% Y-on-Y to baht 281 million, but decreased 39% Q-on-Q, mainly from the decreasing profit sharing from the JV due to their vessel are on dry docking. Overall, the net profit to TTA we report at baht 7 million, which increased significantly 107% Y-on-Y, but decreased 92% Q-on-Q. Next slide,ค่ะ. Okay, let's go through the next business segment, agrochemical segment. Mainly the business operate in Vietnam and the local market contributes a very big role. So let's start with the fertilizer. Total fertilizer sale volume was recorded at 32K ton, increasing 130% Y-on-Y from recovery of domestic demand resulting from reduced fertilizer selling price, which is in line with the market, but decreasing 41% Q-on-Q due to the seasonal factor. As you can see here that each first quarter of each year represent the lowest season of the year. Domestic fertilizer sale volume total 25.6K ton, increasing 140% Y-on-Y, but decreasing 42% Q-on-Q. Export fertilizer sale volume also increased by 98% Y-on-Y to 6.8K ton, since the export volume to Southeast Asia expanded, but decreased by 34% Q-on-Q. Let's look at the two formula of the fertilizer. The NPK fertilizer still represent the main fertilizer product. The NPK fertilizer sale volume increased 134% Y-on-Y to 27.3K ton, but decreased 37% Q-on-Q. The next one is a single fertilizer sale volume. It records at 5.1K tons, increased around 110% Y-on-Y, and decreased 55% Q-on-Q. The next business of agrochemical is the factory area management services. The revenue recorded from factory area management decreased 6% Y-on-Y to about 27 million due to the lower warehouse activity, but quite remains stable on Q-on-Q basis. Next slide,ค่ะ. Let's look at the financial performance of the agrochemical segment. On the revenue side, we report revenue of 712 million baht, which increased 73% Y-on-Y, mainly from the increasing fertilizer sales, but decreasing 41% Q-on-Q due to the low seasons, as I mentioned on the Q1. Fertilizer sale revenue increased by 87% from baht 348 million in last year to about 452 million this quarter, due to the increase in fertilizer sale volume of 130% Y-on-Y, despite the reduced selling price of 19% Y-on-Y, but decrease of baht 1 billion in the last quarter, or 41% Q-on-Q, from lower fertilizer sale volume during the low season. Due to the revenue that increased Y-on-Y, gross profit also increased in the same trend as well. The gross profit increased 229% Y-on-Y to about 100 million, but decreased 52% Q-on-Q with gross profit margin of 14% in this quarter, which is higher than the last year gross profit margin at 7%. But when you compare to the last quarter, it may drop a bit from 70% gross profit margin. The drop is due to the higher material cost. As a result, EBITDA was reported by 32 million, improving 500% Y-on-Y, but decreased 71% Q-on-Q. At last, the net profit to TTA was reported 3 million baht, increasing 112% Y-on-Y, but decreasing 92% Q-on-Q. Just to give you overall on the next business segment, which is food and beverage and investment segment. For the food and beverage, under the license of Pizza Hut and Taco Bell brand, for the Pizza Hut, we do have 186 outlets nationwide, while for the Taco Bell, we currently have 26 outlets nationwide. And for the other business investment, we have the company that provide water loss management service. We have award and attain the backlog of about 279 million, which include the water loss management project and the other EPC project at the end of the quarter. On the next part, I would like to invite our group CFO, Kun Katara, to provide a business outlook of the key business ค่ะ
Thank you ครับคุณจริยา To update the outlook, I would like to update for the major business which is shipping and offshore, which cover already almost 75% of the revenue and also 90% of the EBITDA. The first one is for the shipping outlook. Looking at the dry bulk overview that this year quarter, the first quarter of year 2024, the BSI index for the Supermax 1,178, which is increased from last year same quarter because of strong export of key commodities and also the rerouting of vessel away from the Red Sea, and also decrease from last quarter, typically because of the Lunar New Year season. And then for the first quarter of this year, the highest TCE of Supermax is $15,248 US dollar per day per vessel, while the average is $12,961 throughout the first quarter. Next slide, please. And for the dry bulk demand, if you look at demand in year 2024, Clarkson projected that the demand growth is about 2.4%, and then in the detail that the minor bulk trades growth projected at plus 3.7%, which the Supermax vessel also carry most of these minor bulks to carry about like a steel product, agricultural product, forest product, scrap, and bauxite. And grain projected to increase about 2.1%, and iron ore and coal trade remain about the same. So looking at year 2025, that the demand of growth of dry bulk forecasted is about 1.5% in ton mile. Next slide, please. Looking at the supply, the order book still very low, about 9% currently for the total fleet, which is still quite very low when compared with the lowest one is about 7%. The reason because of the uncertainty of new ship design in order to comply with the new regulation and environmental. And then another reason is because the congestion of the shipyards doing to construct any other vessel like a container or tanker. And in addition that to comply with the current regulation about EEXI and CII, Clarkson projected that supply would be reduced about 2.4 to 3.1%. This is because of to control the speed of the vessel and to spend time to retrofit of the vessel, and in addition that some vessel may have to demolish because of cannot comply with the regulations. So far that Clarkson research the expansion about 4.2% growth of the demand in year 2025. Next slide, please. Looking at if we compare both demand and supply, demand side in year 2024 is growth is 2.4%, and then about the supply is 2.9% growth. Year 2025 demand growth is 1.5, and then supply growth is 2.4. If you look at here it seems like the demand growth is less than the supply growth, but of course that we have to consider about the current fleet vessel on the sea right now. So if we are looking at the total demand, supply, and also the current fleet, that at least that as of today, you see that the rate of this Supermax is still very high. It's over 15,676 US dollar per vessel per day, which is still quite very high. And then compare with our TTA cost. In the first quarter, that our total cost is about 8,000. So we would say that there is still a lot of big margin when we compare with the current TCE and the total cost. Next slide, please. Looking at the shipping segment competitive of our THORESEN shipping, the first one is that we are both the owner and operator to operate our own vessel and to charter in the vessel. This model that the charter in the vessel, mainly because of that we are doing the voyage charter, we book the to carry the cargo in advance, and then after that we have to charter in the vessel in order to serve it to the customer. This one is really require a lot of people competency and experience, because when you book the cargo, you have to take a risk in order to charter in the vessel, maybe in a very high cost at the time when you have to carry, or you have to take a risk on the oil bunker price, and so this why that our operator model to charter in that mainly is to serve the voyage charter. So in summary that we have both our own vessel, charter in vessel, and in order to charter out in both time charter and voyage charter. And then the third one is that our key thing is that we have our own operations in-house experience. We have our own marine department to operate the vessel. We have our own chartering team to connect with our customer to secure the business. In many shipping company, they don't have this in-house experience and operation, because they use the third party to manage the ships, and also that they put the vessel into the pool in order to secure the revenue. So because of having this in-house operation and experience, that we are able to manage the very low cost. So our cost is lower than 20% when compared with the industry. And in addition that we have our own chartering team, we would be able to outperform in the first quarter that 29% from the market. But this is not just only one quarter. If you look at in the past 6 years, according to the Lingard and Rochman survey, that only THORESEN shipping maintained top 5 in 6 consecutive years, during year 2018 to year 2023. Year 2023 of the survey of time charter equivalent just announced in this May, year 2024, and then THORESEN shipping was in the 3rd rank. So it is we would say that we are really the world-class shipping company, better managed for both revenue and cost. Next page, please. Okay, looking for the offshore. Offshore, we all know that this business are always linked with the crude oil. According to the EIA, projected that in year 2000, in the second quarter, that the crude oil price would be about $90 US per barrel, and then year 2025 is expected about 87. We would consider that is still very high. So this thing that is very positive to our offshore business. The Middle East and Africa subsea market is projected that growth about 23% throughout the year 2024 to 2030, and also Asia Pacific market also projected that growth is 18%. So this is still very high. So we would say that all the very macro environment is still very positive for this offshore business. Coming back to our next page, please. Our mermaid itself, that looking at the graph, that the highest record order book as of the first quarter is still $735 million, which is the highest record in the history. And then the Mermaid Asia still continue operate in the Middle East, and then will enjoy a very high utilization, especially we finished dry dock in the first quarter of this year, and we actively pursue the further opportunity across Africa and Angola market, and then on those subsea IRM services, cable laying, the vessel, namely Millennium 3, just finished dry dock, and then we would think that it will be enjoying a very high utilization over the Middle East of cable lay project. And for the TNI and decommissioning, Mermaid significantly achieved market share in Thailand, especially that a very high order book recently, comprising of the TNI and decommissioning significantly amount. You see that 463 million of the order book comprising of coming from the TNI. So in addition that, when we have a very good blueprint start from the Thailand on this TNI and decommissioning, in addition that Malaysia, Australia, and North Sea and Angola are considered a significant market opportunity. Next page, please. Okay, in terms of apart from to operate the business, that TTA also focus about the sustainability. We also appoint the corporate governance committee. We appoint a sustainable development committee, and also we open an opportunity to the shareholder to propose the agenda and director candidate. And also that TTA has been certified member of Thai Private Sector Collective Action Against Corruption. TTA also listed in ESG rating of AA, and also we got the excellent 5-star in corporate governance in the year 2023, and then this is the 5th consecutive year. Apart from in terms of sustainability activity, that's the we can inform you about a few key projects that we have launched application Thai, which is the application platform to help the children and youth who are being bullied in the society. And then also that we incorporate with the Bangkok governor to develop the e-motorcycle in order to reduce the PM 2.5. And then also about the shipping have implemented the carbon dioxide emission plan to reduce carbon dioxide. So this is about the outlook and also the key sustainability of TTA.
The section has come to an end. So on behalf of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, I would like to thank you, corporate, for joining the conference. We look forward to welcome you all again in the next quarter. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณท่านผู้บริหารนะคะ
Thank you ค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ